4, I'm pretty sure, but looks like we're on the season 3 ticket. We've got a best of 3 coming your way tonight. Basically, great to be here, and I am joined by Lumi. Lumi, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Actually, not so great.
Not so great. I mean, we're a little bit frantic. Hopefully, we are live at the moment, but who knows? We'll see.
We'll be fine.
Yeah. It'll all work out in the end, I'm sure. Yeah, we know what we're doing, kind of. I'm excited to pick your brain though, actually, because you've been at the summit this last little bit, and so not only have you been watching all the games, of course, but you've been in there in the rooms in somewhat of a privileged position, listening to what's going on with the teams. So I feel like you've got to have a pretty good handle on the patch right now, right? You've been learning Dota through osmosis with this new patch.
Yeah, the big thing I've really noticed is that most of the teams are prioritizing laning a lot, and we're gonna really talk about how both teams gonna shape their lanes by the end of the draft. Of course, we at the beginning of the draft is still the same, like, hey, let's pick heroes that are flexible, that could go into multiple lanes. That hasn't really changed. What has really changed is like scouting before the creep wave meets up. That's why certain heroes like Earth Spirit and Puck, the fact that they could just get out of the base just a little bit faster with Orb or Roll, just to place that ward a little bit faster than the opponent to scalp out the lanes to make sure that you have the better lanes. That is like apparently super important, and games have been decided just purely on that. Okay. I found that absolutely crazy. So we're gonna really get into we're gonna get into that later, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the bans in even this game, and that focus on the laning really comes through, right? You've got these really annoying laning heroes getting banned out, both some of the strongest possible offlaners in terms of how difficult they are to zone, but then also the best zoning supports. You've got the Winter Wyvern banned, the Bane banned out, Brewmaster's removed. You've got the Omni Knight also getting banned out in there. And a little bit surprising from Evil Corporation as we see this Warlock picked up. I was actually looking at this the other day, and if you go on Dota Buff and you're filtering by meta, Warlock doesn't actually have enough games in 5k plus to like have, I think it's to have a win rate. He's actually just or have a pick rate. He's just like completely irrelevant. So interested to see him being picked up. I think it's still potentially quite a strong hero, and I think it was a patch or two ago. Very, very strong, but surprising to see it picked up this early.
Yeah, I guess to explain the pub thing, right? Nobody wants to play Warlock, so
I like playing Warlock.
It's definitely a very strong counter initiation hero, which I'm surprised that it's picked up so early, because normally you want to have a little bit more information before making that pick, but to each their own.
Yeah, I think one of the things is that Fatal Bonds as well is kind of a win more spell in a lot of ways. Like,
okay, fair enough.
You can be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick Warlock plus Zeus or Warlock plus Venomancer or something, but I don't know how often the Fatal Bonds is the deciding factor between winning or losing the fight. That's one of the things to me is someone who's played Warlock a decent amount. You think you're having this big impact, but maybe your team was winning the game anyway. So I guess we'll have to see. I like the opening from 5 Anchors, no captain. It's not 5 Anchors, C captain anymore. They've got the Sand King Shadow Shaman, pretty good ganky potential. Always really nice to have both of your supports. If they're off the map, they're creating pressure. I'm presuming that they're going to be picking some like strong laners that these two heroes can gank for, just kind of by themselves. And that's really scary if you're the opposing team, because it means that if either support is off the map, which they're kind of always going to be at least one support off the map, you're immediately thinking and you're already kind of worried and you're holding up your TPs, and it just affects how you play the game overall, compared to a situation where the other enemy team has to have both of their supports missing to really do anything. And that might even be the case here for Evil Corporation. Like, the Rubik can kind of roam around, but Warlock is not interested in that life at all. He just kind of wants to sit there and run pulls and do that kind of thing.
Ooh, okay. So I think the Pitlord pick is actually pretty good to essentially, quote unquote, punish the fact that there certainly is not enough damage right now in Evil Corporation. I mean, both Rubik and Warlock, even though they have things like Fatal Bond as well as the offensive no field, Evil Corp needs to pick up something else. And we also know that Tiny, traditionally a very strong laner against most offlaners, Underlord is actually like one of the exception that just beats him pretty hard. I was actually talking to Adam, who manages for Fnatic, and they say that they love this matchup for Ohio. They want to pick Underlord for him simply because you just take your aura at 1, and then Tiny kills the wave because he's tiny, and then you just have like, I don't know, like 40 extra damage.
Yeah.
And then your aura is so good against Tiny throughout the game. Firestorm is just super annoying for Tiny to versus against. So it's becoming more and more of a stable pick against Tiny these days.
Yeah, that's interesting. And Evil Corporation, I mean, they do get a bit more damage here in the form of the Batrider, but the one thing I do worry about for them a little bit at the moment is the 5-man potential from 5 anchors. Like they've got they have these last 2 picks in their draft, and I feel like they've also managed to already cover a lot of bases. Like they've got the Shadow Shaman for some building damage, they've got Underlord for deep push and just sort of 5-man and carrying all the auras. And also the Underlord is kind of there for Roshan as well. So these last 2 picks don't really have to cover, they don't have to be physical damage to hit buildings, they don't necessarily have to be siege, they can just be really good matchups against the Evil Corporation cores.
It opens up your mid pick a lot in particular because, for example, generally mid heroes you have to pick things like siege buildings. But if they want to pick something like a Zeus, for example, if it is a good matchup, not to say that it is this game, they can't get away with it because simply, well, even Juggernaut now adds a ton more on top of that. I am interested to wonder why Juggernaut is the selection here. On paper, it gives you even more 5-man group up with the healing ward.
Yep.
But to me, it doesn't really do that well against so far any of these heroes.
Yeah, I mean it's okay against the Batrider and gives them some more kill potential with their Sand King Shadow Shaman, but it's not a winning matchup by any means, right? The Jug just doesn't die if he gets stuck. So I think that line that you're going along with more 5-man, more just kind of play together and potentially win the game quite fast is potentially what they're looking at. I guess.
By the way, I want to speak on the Tiny Batrider combo. I think Tiny covers Batrider's weaknesses in hero matchup really well. Because one of the things I've noticed is that whenever you see a Batrider, and some of the teams are picking PL or Weaver against it, because Batrider just have trouble initiating versus those heroes. But Tiny's just like, okay, I'm just going to kill both of those heroes when I jump on them. So what Batrider cannot initiate against, Tiny can. So having them both in a lineup also
10 seconds remaining.
this could explain why it was a Juggernaut pick and not something else. Like there isn't really a good carry hero matchup in this particular game against these lineup.
Yeah, because we do see the Weaver a lot. You're right. It's a hero that doesn't really care so much about Batrider at all. But
did you see game 1 where Envy died like 80 times and he bought a hood versus Tiny?
Yeah,
in the finals.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was rough. Okay, so Evil Corporation, I think the one thing they are lacking a little bit from my perspective is maybe a bit of frontline. I think they'd like to have somebody, I mean, the Tiny can kind of initiate and maybe scout a little bit for the Batrider, but always really nice when you've got somebody like the Bat in the off lane to have maybe kind of a dumb tanky mid lane hero that can just go in and be hitting the building and be setting up for things. But Evil Corporation just going to go in for a Vengeful Spirit. And what do you make of this Arc Warden, Lemmy?
Arc Warden is one of those heroes that if your team just lacks damage and you need one hero to pick up the slack, Arc Warden is definitely up there. I think Invoker is the other pick that kind of fills the similar shoes. But I wonder how Arc Warden's going to do versus the lane. I think he's laning against Tiny Warlock in this game, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Venge Rubik in the safe lane, Tiny Warlock mid. And that, to me, is going to be a very tough lane, even if the Shaman or Sand King comes in to help, because it doesn't matter who comes in to help, Tiny just has more damage, right?
Yeah.
If that's going to be the lane setup.
Yeah, and if Rubik rotates at any point, then they just lift him back, toss him all the way to the tower, and then at that point he's just dead. There's really no counterplay for him in that situation.
And then the Venge final pick, laning against the Underlord, also has, I don't want to say kill potential, but you can harass him pretty well. So I think that's the lanes that 5 anchors are looking for. So kind of like I alluded to earlier, let's see if we're going to see any sneaky wards out front. Let's see if we're going to see those lane matchup. And then the final lane matchup is gonna be Juggernaut versus Batrider, but that's more or less a wash, right?
I think so. I think that the bat definitely gets a decent amount, but Jug's not going to die, and he's probably going to get fine farm. It'll be interesting to see what build the Jug opts for this game, because I feel like we've been seeing a lot of carries recently, just kind of going. I think especially like gyrocopters, picking up like Phase, Aquila, Drum, sort of reminiscent of old school builds on a lot of these carry heroes, where they're just running around and doing stuff and being active. And then there also seems to be, maybe more the pub camp in a lot of games, is just people going Battle Fury on any hero that can possibly use it. So we'll see.
I've been watching a lot of No-Tail and a lot of Envy, so my insight on that is that those two players really love the former one that you're talking about. You know, the Phase, Drums, Aquila, just fight with a team, because both teams have players carry from the mid position, right? Abed for Fnatic and Resolution for OG. So I think with this game set up the way it is, that's likely to be the case. Like, Arc Warden is ideally going to carry from the mid lane, and Tiny is ideally going to carry from the mid lane as well. As I say that, though, it seems like Tiny is going for, what is it, safe lane items? Actually, who do you think is actually going to go mid here? I mean, I assume it was Tiny Warlock, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm not too sure.
I don't know. Do they have like a tolerable 1v1 against the Underlord, to the point where they can they like put the Batrider? I don't know. I'm thinking like
Batrider mid.
Yeah, can Bat go mid? I'm picturing Arc Warden just getting run down, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Or maybe these are just mid items on. Well, no, he's got the wand.
Yeah,
he's got the wand queued up. Does not seem.
So
I guess we'll see.
I've never seen the Bat versus Arc Warden matchup, but I think if you're tower diving with Sticky, you just get fluxed and you just die under the building without creep support. So looks like Tiny does have the two share tangos that he is going to be going mid.
Yeah, and looks like, okay, so they are going to have what looks like maybe an aggro lane with Batrider going solo top, and then some kind of setup gen on this bottom side. I don't know if they necessarily want to go aggro into the 5 anchors tri lane though. It's pretty formidable. I mean, their heroes are pretty bad. They're good at level 1, and then they have this kind of gap where they're not so great at level 2. You know, their level 2 abilities are not that amazing, but see what happens here. They scattered out a little bit. Nymphy gets eyes on this. They do have boots on the Sand King. They're going to come forward here. They get the burst strike out. Rubik in some trouble. Nice avalanche. Catches onto 2. They stack their stuns a little bit. They drag the Sand King back in, but looks like the Rubik will be the first blood. And now the Vengeful Spirit getting shackled up as well. There should be a secondary kill. 5 anchors. This is going great for them right at the start of this game. And that might just be the end of the aggressive tri-lane aspirations right off the bat.
Here's the problem. They don't have any plan B, right? Like, I don't think, for example, Underlord could just go down there versus 3 hero, given the fact that there is first blood and second blood. So that means there's going to be boots on these heroes as well. Underlord can't hang there, so you just, because how unlucky that initiation was, Evil Corporation just kind of have to stick it down there for a while, and hopefully don't get wrecked too hard.
Yeah, I mean, look at this Rubik. He's got a Null Talisman first. Is Rubik actually? He's not the one farming, is he?
No, he's not.
Surely this is just like I'm gonna harass people.
Huh.
I mean, we'll see.
Well, the standard item-wise for a position for Rubik is like boots, right? And I'm pretty sure boots would help drastically there when he got spun on. So I don't know. I'm already not liking that no talisman.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. Alright, got a TP coming back down, Sanking back in position. The Warlock is heal level 1. No big surprise there. Mid lane, Tiny's just getting punched by Toxin's Arc Warden.
That was a problem too. Tiny had to take Avalanche to save his ally, so he doesn't have True Grab, and that's actually like a lot of your laning, at least at level 1, to deny and stuff. So this is also going pretty bad there.
Yeah, chucks out an Avalanche, gets a little bit of harassment out. Thompson doesn't actually have that much regen on him at the moment, but he can Fairy Salves pretty comfortably. It's not a big deal. Should be getting a decent amount of courier priority here. It does look like the Vengeful Spirit is the one farming down bottom for Evil Corporation, but not really putting on too much pressure just yet, and they have not locked down the pull, so Pexu already heading over there. Gonna get the small camp going, and we'll see if he'll be able to connect it. I think they should be moving over to contest, but Sand King kind of making some space, keeping tabs on things.
I guess they could just farm this wave here. And they could pull actually to the big camp and farm that as well. So that's probably not the worst.
I think
that's what they want.
I think they want to drag it all the way back to close to their tower, and they want to reset the wave position. They lifted the Sand King straight back into a stun, but Sandstorm, and he's gonna be fine. That's both of the disables used.
I think normally that would be good, but not good when the rune's spawning, because that just let
Sure.
5 angers have the creep wave running at their building and then take the bounty. I think they could have taken both if they just like left it at that big camp.
If they just chilled, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
Right from the get-go, this is actually like pretty rough laning stage. How is the top lane? That
Have-
Rider the bright spot, I guess.
Maybe. I mean, it just looks like Underlord has decided that he can't really win the 1v1, so he's just stealing the wave, which is the off lane this patch, pretty much.
Uh-oh. Firestorm. He's gonna get stacked in Firefly.
Yeah, he's dead, right?
He
he's,
might be dead,
he's,
yeah.
he's super dead.
He doesn't have a TP either.
Yeah. See ya, Trixie.
Alright. Well, I guess Trixie lost the lane pretty hard. That you probably TP away from a Firefly earlier, right? That's why he doesn't have the TP now?
I would guess so. I was not actually watching
Yeah.
top, given that bottom was looking pretty precarious.
Yeah,
But-
so...
Okay, that's good. They've got that lane going, and mid lane, Tiny's now got his 2 points up in tree grab, so he's actually doing pretty well now. Thompson still farming, but I mean, Tiny's just doing tiny things on the mid lane, clubbing down the whole wave.
You rarely see Tiny have a free 1v1 matchup these days, because it's all about like, hey, dual lane mid, dual lane safe lane. And Tiny is actually exceptional in a 1v1 matchup. So it will surprise me if it doesn't pull ahead like drastically, even in the deny apartment with tree grab.
Yeah, throwback to is it Loda game, Dota 1, one of the mid Tiny games. Just turned up mid, got pretty much every last hit in deny, completely uncontested, won the game.
Tiny used to be mid hero back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
actually.
Back when like Arcane's Blink was the only build. Oh, they got the shackles going out. They do need to be a little bit careful. Good damage. The lift is going to keep the jug back a little bit, and they are managing to heal up the Vengeful Spirit. She's pretty fast, and looks like she's going to be a-okay. Nice heal from the
Surprised there
Warlock.
wasn't any spin. They might have actually done something more there. But
Yeah, even just putting on even just doing a little bit of extra damage, putting on some more pressure,
Yeah.
force some more regen. Oop! Kill on the mid lane. Thompson with the solo kill. I don't know, Tiny looking like he got a bit stuck. Was trying to avoid the Flux doing too much damage, staying by his wave, and then just got plinked down. It's gonna get hard. I mean, now the Arc Warden's about to hit level 6, and that should be another kill as soon as he gets that, unless Tiny plays really carefully.
Thompson got the kill simply because through his item choices, right? Like, look at how much damage he's picked up with the Ring of Aquila and Wraithman. He's actually mirroring Tiny's damage without the tree. And then if Tiny's ever, let's say, away from the creep and he gets Flux, he just straight up dies. And that's probably what happened mid. I didn't actually see how the fight happened, but given the skill build and the items. Tiny has boots, which doesn't help you when you're getting Fluxed.
Yeah,
So-
but you look at this, he knows that this Arc Warden has the level 6. But the problem is if he can't push the wave, I guess there's this little window where tree grab is on cooldown, and he can't get the wave pushing in the right direction, and so he's not safe at all. But plays it smart,
Yeah.
waits for the wave to come underneath his tower, and knows that his creep wave has his back in terms of avoiding the double flux.
The other problem with this matchup is that normally Tiny could just run up and be super aggressive, because as the Arc Warden, you always have to be afraid of the toss back. But given that bottom lane has been struggling so much,
Oh.
like Ryujin doesn't have that access to that play.
See, looking potentially quite dead again. Bit of damage onto the Bat Rider, but he's just
man.
gonna tick out.
This lane is done so.
Yeah, it's very Denzo. What kind of build do you want from the Bat Rider this game, do you think? Do you see a drum? Does he get a blink early-ish? What are you hoping
I
for?
like drums a lot this game because you have Venge Core and you have Tiny Core. You just want to be fighting really early. And drums let you kind of fight 10 minutes in the game.
Yeah,
But
just
he's
kinda
farming so well. Like, if he wants a blink, he could have it really fast as well.
some damage getting forced out here mid, but Rubik in a nice position to avoid this first Arc Warden ultimate being too impactful. But it does look like bottom lane is getting broken up a little bit at this stage, which I think probably works out better for the Jug. I mean, Venge just working on her treads at the moment. Jug has got his phase boots picked up, so I think he's got a little bit more threat behind what he's up to, but we'll see. Shadow Shaman trying for the big wraparound.
Don't think they're gonna find anything. That war spots Rubik, and with Rubik mid, I don't think Tiny will die. Bottom though.
Well, yep, they're going in. There's the shackle, but the heal. Vengeful Spirit looking for a little bit of a turnaround. 3 points up in the spin, ready to go. But
So as
Nymphy
soon as
just
they
gonna
saw
run it off.
Rubik TP bottom, immediately they ping out mid.
Yeah, they know that they want this kill,
And-
but too deep.
Yeah, so that's the one thing I really learned watching like people play in Summit. So in the perspective of hold that thought here.
Ooh,
So you
nice
see a grab.
shackle, good positioning from Pexu. He's just over in the trees. They're going to prevent the stun from the Venge and now find that kill. Rubik might also be in some trouble. He's got boots, but Burrow Strike coming up in a couple of seconds' time. He needs to get under the tower, but there's another shackle. Nice low cooldown, another Burrow Strike, one more hit, and 5 anchors will claim 2 kills down here on bottom.
Yeah, players are getting really good at calling, hey, he just TP ball, let's go mid. Like they don't waste a second at all.
Lasso
to-
up top. Batrider looking for this kill. Trixie stacked up somewhat, will be brought down, and now a TP out. Own Me is going to make it all the way back to the fountain. Has a bottle picked up, 2100 gold. I want to see what his decision's going to be here.
You're so rich now, you go blink, right?
Yeah, maybe. I think it depends on.
No, never mind.
It depends on how well you. No, there you go. There's the drum. Nope, they're going for mid. There's the Burrow Strike. They're gonna have the shackle as well. I think there is no chance for the Tiny, and that TP even ends up being cancelled. They know that there's no saving him. And 5 anchors just moving from lane to lane, applying a ton of pressure. Looks like they should even be able to get a bit of damage down on this tier 1 tower.
Yep. And having cores like Juggernaut and Pitlord, they're so good at defending themselves when the support's away. Like Nymphy just runs away from this gang, no problem.
Yeah, he's just cruising. But yeah, so you were saying about people just being realizing the importance of the support TPs and thinking about what everybody's resources are on the map, right? That's kind of what it is. If this person just respawned and TP'd here, that creates an opportunity somewhere else, right?
For example, Pitlord like doing exactly what he said, like sees a couple heroes bottom and just pushes the top building for 80% of his health, which is. It might seem like a small thing, but it makes the next tier 1 push that much easier. And players have always recognizing the importance of recognizing where people's TPs are, but I think they're just acting on it much faster than before. It's pretty much instant. It's like, oh, TP out, let's go do something mid or top or whatever.
Yeah, the level of the game has really progressed a lot in the last few years, right? You compare, I think the level of play at, I would say maybe TI3 or TI4 is probably the turning point when people really started to, I would say that like all 5 players, let's say on the top teams, are now mechanically ridiculous, and the level of thought that's going into all the movement and all the little decisions throughout the course of the game has really moved a lot. But I got this 3-man gank heading towards mid. This is kind of obvious, and yeah, they're idiots. They are not having any of this. They've actually scanned it up. They're anticipating that there's going to be some kind of movement on this angle, and OKC even just waiting to check out a Burrow Strike in case of anything untoward happening. So Topson just going to feel confident to keep on farming.
Oh, Hexu though, that should be a kill.
Yep, toss him back to the Batrider. There's the Firefly. He's going to throw out a little bit of damage. Does his best. Knows that he doesn't have any way to escape. They're coming in. They're looking for the kill on the Warlock. We'll be able to grab it, and that's Topson grabbing yet another kill. Batrider needing to be a little bit careful. Still has some Firefly duration left, but Arc Warden not that stacked up. Does get lifted back. I think he's out of the Firefly for just a second. He gets the wand, charges off. Can he find a kill here? They've also got Trixie coming in. Firestorm going out. Vengeful Spirit getting spun down. Body blocks from the Rubik. Nymphy unable to get through. Will be able to phase boot forward. Gets off the Omni Slash. Finds that kill. Now they're trying for the evac. Underlord throws out one last Firestorm. Nymphy not inside the Underlord ultimate. He's going to get ticked down. Oh my god. What a disaster.
Wait, did you see the tail end of that shackle? So
No,
Rasa
what
got
happened?
brought back to the base by the Uber taxi, but the shackle still like stayed onto the Tiny. So Tiny was, or whoever that was being grabbed, was standing there under the Firestorm and probably a half map long shackle. That was the most ridiculous thing I've seen.
Dota's a great game, really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I mean, Jug went deep for that. The body blocks from the Rubik were sick. That was That was Rubik really putting his body on the line. He's like, yep, I want to save my Venge, and forced the really deep commitment from the Jug. Unfortunately, Rubik didn't quite have 6. I think if he has 6 there, quite easily steals either Spin or Omni, and they probably find even more kills. But what was it overall? So they lost Peksu instantly, then they killed the Warlock, then the Arc Warden died, Sand King died, and so it was a 2 for 3 overall. I think definitely favoring Evil Corp.
Yeah, and they really needed that because how poorly the tri-lane bottom has done, like their supports are really under level. Imagine if Warlock went for that mid gank that you said was like relatively obvious. If they have Rock, they could just run into the building and force it, right? But Warlock's only level 4. And I'm surprised that Batrider isn't part of these smoke ganks. I feel like you should give the lane to the Warlock to get his level 6. And then meanwhile, you got this Drums Batrider should be, you know, part of every smoke gank instead of doing what he's doing right now, which is farming the jungle.
Yeah, I mean they do have Lasso's on cooldown, but they don't even really need it to find these kills necessarily. It is going to be the Venge taking over top. I guess Venge also deciding that she maybe needs a little bit of time to catch up in this situation. She is fairly low down on the net worth, and not really a hero that flash farms. You kind of need to be consistently getting your gold going throughout the course of the game, making sure to bring down those tier 1 towers as well, big source of your income. But only level 6, so definitely needs some alone time to finish up this. Just a Dragonlance at the moment.
Yeah. The game looks really close, but I think 5 Anchors, their lineup is just better in this stage of the game. Once their heroes are all online, they also scale much better than Evo Corpse.
Yeah, I mean this
Evil
Arc
Corpse
Warden he's strong kind of now, right? But he's like nursing this Midas. Is the big thing. Oh, Trixie knows something's going on up here, just trying to defend. Can they find him in the trees is the question. They've got all 3 cores up here. And Trixie just gonna piece.
Yep. Well, I think 5 Anchor's fine with that. They just trade buildings. Although they haven't really gotten to the bottom tier 1 in time yet.
They do have Serpent Woods. I think the Rubik is sitting here hoping to steal them, but nope. Not going to be given the opportunity. Peksu's staying back a little bit, but Fade Bolt does slow this down somewhat. Warlock now coming in as well. Level 5, not quite 6 on him just yet, but a little bit more experience soaking and should have it. And no, waiting for the last hit. No, Peksu's going to grab it, so that should be probably his Arcane Boots are not too far away. Needs another 300 gold. And I do want to see this Batrider get another gank going, but that asset that he just grabbed on mid lane is going to be his Blink ready to go as soon as the courier makes its way back. So should probably see another smoke coming out in just a second. They do have one available on the Warlock. This is a good timing, actually.
14 minutes in, he's the most farm hero on the map. He's gonna.
He is the bright
have to
spot,
put some
Libby.
impact.
You said it.
Yeah. Don't matter if you have farm if you don't use it though. Let's go Batrider.
Oh, Warlock's dead. He just wanted his level 6 and now he's getting chain stunned down bottom. Can they do anything about it? He's actually surviving for a little bit. They get the swap back into the tower. Sand King stunned up. Looks like it will end up being a trade. Now they've got the lasso onto the Jug. His spin's already down. He's going to try for the TP out.
Oh!
Fade Bolt.
Damn. Good stuff.
I thought they might
2
like
kills.
bounce him towards the Rubik and then lift him, but no, Fade Bolt was enough. Well, that was great. They didn't even they didn't even have the rock, but they didn't even use it. Top tier 1 does get taken out, so Underlord finding something there. He's going to be working his way towards a pipe. Definitely a very nice item to have this game.
Smoke gank.
Yeah, they want Thompson. They are close-ish to a shrine. He's going to be running over towards it. Flux chucked out onto the Rubik, who's just going to be going for the TP out. Thompson also TPing out. Nothing happened.
Good trade here for Evil Corp, trading support TP for a carry TP. I like the move though. Like they got this 2 kill on the bottom. They smoked up immediately. With drums, you don't really even need lasso for the kills. And recognizing that they went for it, but it was a little bit too close to the shrine. Oh, Trixie!
Oh no, not like this. Trixie's trapped inside of the wards. He's gonna go for the TP out. Is anyone gonna come with him? That's the question. Is he going all the way back to base? I don't know if he really had to. Could have maybe just gone to the tier 1 tower. Now they don't have their Underlord for this fight. Batrider, knowing this, is going to be going after the Sand King. SK, Burst Strike on cooldown. Just going to aggro Roshan and hope for the best. He does get the deny. But still, that is not what they wanted to have happen here on the mid lane, as the Master Serpent Wards do get cleaned up, and the tier 1 still survives.
Oh my god, this game is so clowny. You got the Trixie getting War Trap, Sanking trying to suicide to Roche, but then actually got it off because Roche was boss. You have 4 heroes trying to kill the Sanking but couldn't beat Roche. Oh my goodness.
Rubik's setting a nice little trap up over here. He's got the flux. He's got the spark rates thrown down everywhere, ready with the lift. This is kind of scary if you're the Radiant team because you don't know that these are Rubik's wraiths. But, alright, there you go. Tier 1 tower going to be brought down. And just like that, all across the map, Evil Corp claim 3 Tier 1 towers. One after the next,
And against a Pit Lord team, that's rather surprising, right? You imagine he will be there to actually Firestorm. But Trixie has been having a really, really tough game.
Yeah, well, especially with that ward trap. He's almost got his pipe, which is, I think, definitely going to be helpful. The next big timing for them is probably the spin over on this Batrider. Jug wants the kill. He's already used the Omnislash, however, and just not enough damage. Batrider a little bit too tanky with the wand and the drum, so he's going to be just fine. Shrugs that off, heals back up, and they've got another lasso ready to go. And we might even see the Chaotic Offering also get unbenched for the first time this game.
Poor Warlock doesn't even have boots. What's going on here?
He has 900 net worth, Lumi.
Alright, he's got boots coming in. Alright, yeah, it's got boot now. So I wonder how Venge and Tiny's gonna itemize, because I feel like both of them normally plays the same role in the pro games, right? Tiny normally comes off the safe lane and runs around ganks, and that's kind of what Venge's role is in this game. Tiny has a Shadow Blade pickup, but I feel like he needs to go for item that scales.
They want this Rubik, but there is a wraparound coming in behind. This could be dangerous with the Warlock ulti. Can they find all 3? They should be able to. There's the Chaotic Offering coming out. They've also got the Fatal Bonds damage. They managed to control the Tiny a little bit. Trixie tries for the TP out, but he's going to be the lone survivor as they do find the Arc Warden and the Shadow Shaman kills. I mean, Rubik goes down, but he's pretty happy with that, I think.
Yeah, very good bait. And immediately Batrider now goes bottom. Don't know if they're actually going to get this kill, but here we go.
Okay, see ya. Do they have some detection for him? Pushing him around a little bit. They know where he is, but nothing to really... Oh, he jumps out now. Burrow striking through. 2 stacks of Sticky already up. They're going to toss in the Underlord straight under the tower. They are going to try and come in with the Jug to help out. The right clicks from the Tiny. Doing some decent work. Pexu trying to catch somebody here if they can. The Batrider still burning them down a bit with the Firefly. Getting chain stun. Heading out over the trees. Will he be able to survive? Gets swapped across. They've still got all 3 cores down here. And Trixie now going to try and turn tail and run. The Healing Ward's been doing good work. They've got 3 points up in this upheaval, making it very difficult to escape. But there's no creep wave. And the Arc Warden respawning now coming in as well with the TP. Can they actually find anything? No, Warlock able to TP out. And just a bit of a stare down at bottom.
2 drums up on the Dire team. Batrider has the drums. Tiny has the drums. Who's actually going to be carrying this game? I guess they're going to just kill people, right? And then hit buildings.
Are they on a timer to end this game before the Arc Warden just kind of takes over?
So. If 5 Anchor gets this Roshan, they're going to be super far ahead, because that means they're going to be okay against this next fight. Like, you have so much net worth, at least 2 to 3k net worth invested into drums, and as long as those drum charges gets depleted after a while, and it looks like these illusions going to straight up take a building. Anybody going to deny? Alright, here we go. Yeah, but they're going to get this Roche.
Yeah, this is the nice thing about having the Underlord. I mean, he hasn't done necessarily a ton for the team this game in terms of the teamfight control, but does take Roshan very quickly with the Firestorm. So they get that. They get the Aegis up on their Jug.
As long as he's not giving away Firestorm to the Rubik, then it's all Gucci.
Yeah.
If he gives away Firestorm, dude, that's no go.
Oh, they're smoking in. They don't care about the Aegis. They just want to find some pickoffs. They're going to lead the way with Tiny. They find the Arc Warden immediately. Can they burst him down? He's quite tanky, in fact. He gets the wand charges off, gets pushed back by the Flame Break. Can they save him with the Underlord? They will not be able to. Burst Strike coming through onto a couple, however, with the Epicenter. This is huge. They found 2 so far. Shadow Shaman now able to keep locking down the Vengeful Spirit. She will manage to right-click him down, but Nemphy, I think he will be able to chase after this kill. Flen's trying to juke around the corner, but the Burst Strike finishes him off. And now Batrider looking for the kill on Trixie will not be able to tick him out. Looks like he will blink off to the side, but ends up being a 2 for 3 in favor of 5 Anchors. Fortunately, still had everybody kind of in position around the mid lane. Nobody splitting up too much after the Roshan to go and farm.
So strategically, 5 Anchor is almost guaranteed to win this game if they don't make big mistakes. They just got the Roshan, they just won a big fight after the Roshan, and now if you just kind of slow the game down, farm, you also outscale Evil Corp's cores. So I don't think really need to do anything crazy, but they still have the capability to do so, right? You still have Serpent Wards, so you can still like siege buildings if you want. You could go for gank with Omni Slash if you want. There's so many different ways for 5 anchors to play this. Whereas Evil Corp, I almost feel like they just have to keep making the same type of plays that they just did, which is like 5-man smoke up, try to look for a good team fight. Because honestly, that's the only way that their team could actually get objective at this point on.
Yeah.
You have a Tiny, you just need to win fight and siege tier 2s.
Yeah. Did you happen to see what happened with was Chaotic Offering on cooldown for that fight? Because it wasn't used, so it must have been maybe close. Oh,
yeah, I guess they used it
kill
bottom,
the Sand King. He's gonna try for the TP out, but he gets lifted. Burrow Strike stolen, stunned up, and there you go. That is gonna be the end of OKC.
Okay, see ya. That's actually a pretty big steal, Rubik getting Burrow Strike. There's so many good spells to get this game.
Yeah, it's actually a very sick Rubik game. There's plenty of consistent steals as well, I think is one of the big things. Like, you steal from Jug, you're kind of never really that unhappy about what you get. Shadow Shaman is sort of similar. And even the Underlord to a certain extent, you know, you're pretty consistently going to get Firestorm or Pit, both of which are pretty sick on Rubik.
Yeah.
But,
also, the one thing I've been noticing is that Evil Corp is really lacking a good hero to hit the healing ward, right?
Yeah,
They don't really have
it did
long
so
range
much
heroes.
work bottom, right? They did a bunch of damage to the Underlord, and then the Jug TP'd in, put down the healing ward, and he was just fine after that. They couldn't really do anything else to him. Especially with this pipe, he's actually quite difficult to burst, right? We talked about how good the Atrophy Aura is against the right click from the Venge and the Tiny. So if they don't finish him kind of in the initial nuke combo, that's where Trixie just survives forever. And especially once he gets, I mean, level 20 is a little ways off, but once he gets that HP regen talent, potentially, it's going to be even more difficult to bring him down.
I mean, he also has Mex finish, so
Yeah.
there's that too. Like, I don't know. I feel like they need a Spirit Vessel, right? You throw a Vessel on the Underlord and you hope for the best. But maybe the other way to go about it is just to try to kill the other people first. But that's hard enough as it is.
Yeah. The other thing that I think looking at the Arc Warden pick this game that I didn't really mention in the draft is that he just kills the Warlock and the Rubik for free. I mean, it depends on his item build and like whether he gets the Shadow Blade and Nullifier and whatnot, but I think in general the Arc Warden is super difficult to deal with if you're Rubik or Warlock this game. So I think that's
Jug could itemize for that. Like if Jug picks up a Blink Dagger right here, then he just every fight he goes to the back line and just assassinate both supports.
Yeah.
But looks like he's looking to scale a little bit alongside his Arc Warden. At this point, I feel like they could get any items and just do just fine because they are strategically so far ahead.
Yeah, I don't know how they break high ground on Evil Corp unless everybody's dead, right? And especially
which second could happen. So
yeah. They're looking for it at the moment. Tier 2 for Tier 2 trade going on right now. 5 anchors. I don't really like that much that they're showing their Sand King at bottom. I feel like he should be in fog somewhere, at least kind of threatening to cancel some TPs or jump somebody at top.
Sure.
So Evil Corp pretty comfortably just TP back, take the 1-for-1 trade, open up the map a little bit more, which I think is kind of fine for them. But like you're saying, I still overall read on this game is that 5 anchors are pretty comfortably in the driving seat, unless they make some, they botch some team fights really badly.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to kind of oversell this lead, right? Like it's only 5k. The Aegis has faded, and they didn't really do anything with it. So the game is definitely one or two team fights away where Evil Corpse gets let's say a 4-1 fight. They take down Tier 2, and then another fight to take the rack. So Evil Corp is still very much so in it. It's just that they kind of have to be the one that plays a little bit better than 5 anchors.
Yeah, and is part of that because the Arc Warden has just hit, I think he's just hit his massive ramp, right? He's finished a Mjolnir as a farming item, he's had his Midas for a while, and now I think he just picked up the BOTs, and this is where the split push and the farm really starts to accelerate for him.
Yeah, not only that, like Juggernaut also is getting those kind of items, so he is going to scale just as well as Arc Warden. And then if you look at the supports, you got Shadow Shaman who could be threatening Raxus by himself late game. Sand King is always a threat in team fights and initiation. So I just think the entire lineup of 5 Anchor just scales amazingly.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
The Tiny is doing well to keep up in farm. You know, we said that he didn't go for the farmiest build. Hold that thought. Actually got the jump in here onto the Warlock. They need to burst him. Actually, there's no backup really, so even a Chaotic Offering's not going to
Tiny.
do that much. They know that Tiny's around here, but they didn't catch him, and he'll just be able to scoot away. Is it just me, or I guess part of it is that a lot of people are buying Drum at the moment, but I feel like we have a lot of really fast heroes right now. Like Shadow Fiend, especially with the move speed build as well. People are going like Drums SNY on that hero.
Dire's
Oh.
top tower is under
Tops him with the solo kill.
Solo killing a Baron and trying to defend his tower.
Yep.
Sad thing.
And then getting a bunch of right clicks on the tier 3.
Is it because of the Agi change? Because Agi gives you percentage movement speed, right?
I think that's part of it. I think it's also the itemization is
Dire's top tower
shifting a
is
little
under
bit.
attack.
And
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned drums, but like, there's like so many SNYs.
Drum
think, from all these
SNY.
core- Yeah,
yeah.
face boots.
Yeah, lots of people. I mean, people were even talking about SNY, I think, during the summit. BSJ on the couch talking about the map feeling like it takes a little bit longer to get around from place to place, so the little bit of extra move speed just kind of helps your overall farm a lot. I guess people are buying Diffusal way less, so the SNY is maybe taking its place a little bit. Oh, they're hunting for something here. They dropped the Mass Serpent Wards. I don't know if 5 Anchors really need to pressure too much more. I think at this point they can just use the Arc Warden to completely control the map and then farm as much as they want. You look at the net worth graph, and there's sort of a very clear point around 21 minutes where the farm rate has just picked up significantly, and 5 Anchors are kind of running away with it in some ways.
I think that point was where 5 Anchors sneaked the Roche, and then
Yep.
they won the fight, and then just kind of never looked back from there. Pexu has been dropping his Serpent Wards like fairly aggressively, which is fine.
Do you like
it's
it?
just that not in this game because Roshan is coming up, and I feel like if you just save Serpent Ward for Roche, you never lose the next Roche fight. But Roche is spawning relatively soon, and Serpent Ward would not be up. But at the same time, like Evil Corp can't really do much about it.
Yeah, and they can't afford to get stuck in a standoff at Roshan, because that's where the 5 Anchors Manta on Jug and constant Rat from the Arc Warden is just going to force them back to their base. I mean, even you look at top lane right now, there's Jug Manta illusions ready to push it all the way in. They are going
That
for
is the
this-
other issue with this Evil Corp lineup. They just can't deal with split push that well. Like Warlock as a hero is trash for that. Rubik is okay. And speaking of Rubik, he has stolen Firestorm. So
Oh, that's nice.
yeah.
He's going for an
But-
Ags at the moment. No Blink. Which I think is... I mean, Blink's quite good this game, but it's not even that you're... The problem is that the split push isn't even like a hero, right? Where you're like, okay, I gotta catch this guy with the instant Blink lift so that we can stop the split push for a minute or two and get the lanes back out. It's the Arc Warden ultimate.
Illusions.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's stuff that doesn't really matter if you jump it. So I guess I kind of like this decision. Like we said, there's lots of very consistent steals, so I think that's a situation where the Rubik Ags can do a lot of work.
If you steal Burrow Strike with X, you know, it's pretty hype.
Yeah, you get the ridiculous. Is there what else we got? I guess the Mass Serpent Wards, but pretty unlikely. Omni Slash. And then
Doesn't help too much.
Yeah, no, not really. And then the other two don't have. So, oh no, Underlord does with the
It's Atrophy.
Atrophy
Aura, right?
Aura.
You can't steal that.
The Atrophy Aura Vlad effect.
Yeah.
That's how I think about it, at least.
So for 5 Anchor, they could probably slow the game down where, you know, they set up wards in enemy jungle, find a pick,
Yep.
and it doesn't really matter who they get. After they get that kill, they walk up the high ground, drop wards, and take tier 3. Or if Evil Corp plays like super
Ooh,
well,
Evil Corp. Are they gonna find Thompson here? They are,
Yes,
but he
they
does
will.
have the Aegis. This is a little bit dangerous. They're gonna drag him down onto the low ground, into the waiting arms of the rest of the team. Can they actually save him? They do manage to bring him back up onto the high ground. He force staffs himself there. He's still alive. The Chaotic Offering gets dropped. Not really doing that much. It controls Pexu for a little bit. Sand King isolated somewhat. The Tiny getting trapped inside of the Pit of Malice, and now Thompson gonna turn around and just start laying into them. The auto attacks are doing some damage, but they're about to lose the Ven. She's down. Ryujin is gonna be able to pop his BKB and turn tail and run inside of the base. It's only one for the Aegis, but 5 anchors find themselves right in front of the Evil Court base, all 3 lanes pushing in, and might even be able to just muscle down a tier 3 here. I mean, top is already about half HP, so yeah, they're going to switch over there.
There's no lasso, there's no rock, right? So as 5 anchor, you just have no fear whatsoever. Do they have siege creeps coming in? Siege creep coming in the next wave. So I don't know if
30-minute double siege, perfect time.
There you go. Timed it.
Someone alert fogged. Well, the upheaval is doing something. They're going to be able to defend this wave, but meanwhile, Arc Warden over at mid, chip in there. What do you do here? Do you try and swap somebody into the base? Swap into an instant lift, maybe?
Not without your ults. I think if they're gonna make that play, they have to wait for the cooldowns again. Which, by the way, you know, the double siege, like, I know we joke and meme about it, but players are super nerdy about it. Like, they are serious. I think I was walking by one of Fnatic's games and I kept hearing double siege being shouted out by Envy. I don't know exactly what context it was in the game, but I'm sure there was some siege creep involved.
I mean, if you've got your drums as well, you pop your drums for your siege creeps.
Oh yeah.
There you go. That's the strat.
I mean, there's so many ogre being picked, right? It's just bloodlust.
Just bloodlust, yeah. If only Invoker wasn't so so iffy at the moment. Just Alacrity or siege creep.
Oh, Sanking going
Jumping
in by
in.
himself.
Batrider does have his BKB ready to go. They're going to drag the Sanking up out of the high ground. He force staffs his way down. Nemphy spinning through onto the Rubik. Does manage to force staff himself a little bit further away, but there is a Shackle ready to go. They're focusing onto the Underlord. Not necessarily the best target, and Tiny not doing all that much damage. Nemphy in trouble. Pops the cheese perhaps a little bit early, and now just completely left behind by his team. Does go for the Desperation Omnislash, hoping for some lucky bounces to find a kill, but Nemphy has been left for dead. And 5 Anchor is just going to go back and reset, go play the lanes for a bit.
I'll take your tribute.
How is that kill only worth 351 gold? What's happening? I guess Tiny has more net worth than...
Yeah, does Tiny got the last hit? Is that part of it?
Yeah, that is it. I thought I guess like Juggernaut, you lose gold is what? The formula for gold loss is like net worth divided by 40. Something like that?
Yeah, I think it's still pretty simple. The gold gained is not simple at all anymore. It's
just like some quadratic equation.
Yeah, well, it's got like it's your
cosines
net worth
and shit.
ranking, and then there's like a summation. Yeah, it's just it's
so
a
I think
real
it's because
mess.
Tiny got the last hit, right? If it was
I
like
think so.
Warlock or something.
Easy
wouldn't have
money.
to sell.
What's Warlock going for? Well, I mean, he's got dreams, but nothing in the quick
He's got
buy.
win lates.
he's getting somewhere. What did he go for? The cast range talent? Yep, I like that. Has the Fatal Bonds maxed out now. The upheaval, he actually maxed the upheaval first this game, which I think is pretty nice with the Batrider. Makes their lineup quite difficult to escape from if they do actually get a winning team fight going. Still, even with that pick off in the jug, it feels like nothing has really changed, right? This Arc Warden is still just pushing out every single lane. His item build is a little bit interesting to me. Very split push heavy, right? He's going for what looks like maybe a Manta Lincoln's coming up.
That's fine.
I mean, like we said, they already don't deal with it very well, so may as well just double down on full rat. Don't even have to pick off the supports. Don't have to be going for these like Nullifier, Bloodthorn, and Shadowblade kind of solo kills. You can just shove the waves, and you can get a 6-slot Jug, a 6-slot Arc Warden, and then chip the high ground.
I do think that previous team fight where Sanking jumped in to initiate, that was a little suspect. Because I don't think they really need to take those kind of team fight in the enemy woods. Thompson is going for a solo kill. No, not gonna find it. But the win condition now becomes the next Roche. Because that one drops Refresher Shard for Shaman. Ooh, juicy double wards on high ground. Let's go.
Do you think that's part of why Shadow Shaman has been so popular recently? Every team kind of wants, like, you want to have at least one good Refresher Shard hero, right? Because it's not it's not that far-fetched to, like, for it to happen in most, you know, for third Roshan in most games.
I think he's more picked for the fact that he just punches so hard in the laning stage. He walks out of trees and your offlane dies because Shackle is an amazing spell level 1. But yeah, late game it does have that
on the Sand King. He's gone.
It does have that like nice added benefit of you know, you just win free games. That's why you see Shaman being paired with Lycan so much, because Lycan could pressure the tier 2s, get the waves in, and then he also takes Roshan really easily, so he gets you to the Refresher Shard. And then I haven't seen the Shaman paired with Pit Lord, but I guess the idea is the same, right? Firestorm just takes you Rosho easily.
Yeah, gives them good push, gives them good Roche. They can defend towers and also take their own towers. Like we were saying, I mean, even if they didn't have the Jug necessarily this game, I feel like 5 Anchors should not be that concerned about their building damage or anything. But Evil Corp are making some strides down the middle lane. They do have the Arc Warden Tempest Double going to work up top, but looks like they will end up losing this tier 2. Tiny's got an AC picked up now, so a little bit less susceptible to the right-click damage and actually walloping pretty hard himself, but tier 3 taking damage.
5 Anchors needs to be careful. Like, they lose one team fight with Tiny outside your base, you get Rax. And I think that's actually what they're going for right now.
Yeah, this is I really like this ward a lot. There's actually, I think, a smoke behind the Arc Warden here, but it's heading down into the bottom side. Radiant probably not feeling comfortable. They don't have enough
Rubik dying
vision.
up top.
Oh, yep, taking some damage. Meanwhile, still looking for the catch here. Can they find somebody? Sand King will be able to get the cancel on the TP, and Vengeful Spirit looking very dead. Force Staff from the Batrider going to try and save his buddy, but I don't think he really has too much of a chance. Another Force Staff. Vengeful Spirit with the Hurricane Pike, and is that actually the end of it? Very nicely played by the Bat. Okay. But the tier 3's dead up top.
Yeah, they did lose tier 3. I mean, that's super annoying, right? If you're playing as Evil Corpse. You're trying to take a team fight. You have a nice ward outside the base. You're all ready to fight, and then Arc Warden ports up top, and both your supports have to TP back to defend.
And even then, they can't stop it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, who could actually defend against Arc Warden now, realistically? Tiny?
Tiny.
Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Venge, maybe?
Venge probably
Actually, there's a
doesn't
Lincoln.
die,
Yeah.
but like I don't know if she kills it that quickly. It's kind of scary. Oh, we got
Oh my
spark
god.
rates everywhere. Oh, they gotta jump in. What have they lassoed? It's an illusion. Not a good look, and now they're going to jump in with the Epicenter, doing damage onto the Venge. She's still pretty tanky. That's the second BKB pop. Topson sending in his Tempest double. Big choke point as Trixie lays down the Firestone. Nemphy right in the middle of all of this with the spin. Rubik unable to do anything. The two supports just getting right-clicked to death. Looks like the Flux should be the end of the Rubik. And now the Omni Slash luckily bouncing away. Flensmeister is going to be able to survive, but they've lost the Tiny in the midst of all of this. He's been turned into rubble. Will be forced to buy back here, but 5 Anchors just charging their way up into the base. Trixie punching away with all that bonus damage from the Atrophy Aura. What can they even do?
Pretty much nothing.
Yeah, they could toss somebody back to the tier 4s, maybe, but yeah, that was not a good look with the lasso wasted. And I think even if they'd gotten a successful lasso out, it just seems like 5 Anchors have farmed so much at this point. 20k net worth lead. Vengeful Spirit just kind of watching from the sideline. Same story for the Tiny, as it looks like it should probably be Mega Creeps.
That choke point was so disgusting. Like, Pit hit like 3 heroes, Firestorm was on 4. You dropped the Mass Serpent Ward, and then you got the bubble from the Arc Warden. Like, nobody actually was taking any damage. And this is, like, never mind the fact that you actually can't even out-damage the Pipe and Greaves on the Pit Lord, so...
Yeah, and they pushed all the way into the choke point as well, and I don't think the Chaotic Offering did that much either.
Yeah,
you know, they kind of picked the Warlock early this game, so it's not a huge surprise that he doesn't necessarily have like a huge impact.
It was really the lanes. I think the fact that Warlock was level 4 15 minutes in and they couldn't do anything. I mean, at that point you just picked a range creep, right? You didn't even pick Warlock.
Yeah, pretty much. You picked up Hevel on a stick, but like not even that scary. All right, there we go. We got the Refresher Shard up on the Shadow Shaman. Peksu feeling pretty happy with himself, and 5 Anchors, kind of just a formality at this point. So,
oh man, Shaman can't wait to drop his double ult, dude. This is like my favorite part of the game as a Shaman player. Don't GG out yet, guys.
Yeah. It's even better than Refresher Orb because it doesn't cost mana, right? You're like, oh, don't have to worry about my stupid mana pool.
You used to have to like buy mangoes and stuff at this point in the game.
Yeah, or you got to remember
He's gonna get grabbed though. He's gonna get grabbed.
No, they've got the Lincolns, double Lincolns. Let's go. Up, jump in, burst strike onto 2. Tiny in some trouble. Does manage to get off the BKB. Status resistance also helping him out. Underlord dragged into the middle of everybody. Swapped back as well, but can they even kill Trixie? Doesn't look likely. He's also got the cheese. Omnislash now bouncing through. Rubik, can he get a steal on this before he goes down? He's trying for it, but he doesn't have the mana. And they will just get shepherded all the way back. Firestorm stolen once again. Double Mass Serpent Wards drop. That is the Mega Creeps. And the GG called. Evil Corp, a completely, I don't want to say botched tri-lane necessarily. That first blood with the double kill just kind of put them in a bad situation. They did their best with the Batrider, but just couldn't quite recover from the slow start. And like we said, they had to win this game pretty quickly because it seemed like once we got through the mid game, 5 anchors were always going to hit their stride, and this was probably the outcome from there.
I think they had to win quickly because of the items they went for. Like, I kind of mentioned Tiny and Venge fulfilling the same role. I felt like if Tiny went for a harder carry build where you skip the drums, you probably don't skip Shadow Blade because it's so good for map control, but you skip the drums and go for more of a harder carry late game item, probably would have done better for them. But yeah, mostly it was coming down to the tri-lane. I'm also a little suspect about the Rubik Ags, kind of watching him throughout these fights. Having nice, like, extra long-range spell steal and a 2-second cooldown was great, but at the same time, he couldn't steal really good stuff. I think OKCO was mostly doing a very excellent job protecting his Burrow Strike. Like, he would just ult, jump in Burrow, and immediately Sandstorm. And then Rubik just couldn't find any good steal. I mean, the Firestorm was pretty much the best one he got, and it's still a good spell, but you don't need an axe for that. So
yeah, and it's tough as well because I think he was using his Force Staff defensively a lot. To try and save people once they get hexed or shackled or burst struck, and that means that he doesn't have the positioning to be able to use those kind of lower range spells.
He needed a Vessel this game. Spare Vessel, right? You're up against Pit Lord, you're up against a Healing Ward. If you Vessel, you actually have a good chance of killing people.
Yeah, it helps with the... Because there were even a couple of situations where somebody got down to like 15% health, right? And then the Greaves kick in, and then everything else happens. And they just couldn't quite finish those kills. And just a couple more kills, like that moment at mid lane that we saw when they had the ward set up. If the game's a little bit more even, maybe the Arc Warden doesn't have as much. They take a team fight there, they get 1 or 2 kills, and then that could have been a lane of Rax in their favor, and that takes off some of the split push pressure. So I'm feeling pretty confident for Evil Corp, or still feeling hopeful for them as we head into game 2 of this best of 3. Any other thoughts on this game, Lumi?
Man. Yeah, it was a fun game, especially that Clowny.
Oh, the ward trap
camera, dude. Yeah, the ward trap was funny. The shackle and then the Uber taxi, but the shackle was still going on. But all right, lobby is up for game 2, so we'll join the lobby real fast, and we'll probably take like a 5-minute break. But the game 2 should be coming really soon.
See you guys soon.